In 1974, 3 years only after the discovery. And the curiosity is that the discoverers of the caves were young boys aged between 16 and 20 years old. They just finished a training on speleology, and they were very curious about practice, what they learned. During a trip on a train, they met someone familiar, someone they knew, and this person told them that he was hiking on Valle Montagnana Mount and found a hole, and from this hole, as big as a football ball, there was fresh air coming out. The guys were very happy about this news because they knew that if from the mountains it comes air, it means that there's a passage of air, which means empty space inside, so cave. They couldn't know if the cave was big or small, just a thin gallery or something big. The only way to know that was to explore this hole, and they arrived and started the exploration. They digged, snaking and removing all the stones that interfere with the passage, and in about 20 days they were able to create a passage to, I would not say walk because they were not walking, but they were horizontally standing, so they made 80 meters. At a certain point, this narrow passage became larger and they could stand. But there was like a wall from a very old landslide that could not allow the passage. But if the air was passing through, it means that they could go farther. So they started removing this landslide, and in a while they were invested by a fresh, cold current of wind, okay? And they were in the darkness, because after few meters, I would say no more than 2 meters, the natural light can no longer pass in a hole of a diameter of a human being, okay? So they were in the dark. They trying to lean out of the passage they opened and tried to check if it was possible to go ahead. They were over there. And of course it was not possible to proceed further. What they could do was to reach the white balcony underneath. Only 2 of them reached the balcony and started to check if they could walk around. So they just dropped some small pieces of rocks, but nothing. They couldn't hear anything. So they made silence. They waited for a bit longer and let a bigger piece of rock fall. They wait for a never-ending period because the crash happened after 5 seconds, which is a lot. They calculated, in fact, that in 5 seconds the piece of rock could make a distance of 120 meters. So they were scared, they were shocked, paralyzed. First of all, because they were on a very dangerous spot. If that spot would slide, they would fall. Secondly, they were shocked because they realized that in that moment they were entering the history of speleologism in Italy, because never before something so deep had been discovered, and they were totally unexperienced. But they were young, unexperienced, and for this reason they didn't give up. They came back home and started brainstorming how could they do to start this adventure. They didn't